For hours after a 58-year-old woman lured him to Texas, he discovered the hidden truth that change wasn't what he expected. Jim had always believed in the American dream, but day after day spent in his small-town garage felt like scraping the bottom of a rusted barrel. Each hour turned into an uphill battle, his hands stained with grease and the weight of providing for his ailing mother pressing down hard on his heart. He often wondered whether hope lived beyond the horizon or if it was just a mirage in the summer sun. The houses around him leaned a little, the paint peeling, much like his dreams, and every time he returned home after long shifts, he felt a part of himself withering under the weight of unrealized aspirations. Then came a message. Out of the blue, a vibrant note from Mary, a 58-year-old schoolteacher who had recently lost her husband. Her words were filled with warmth, promising connections that could offer a new beginning for Jim. Something stirred within him, a spark of possibility that perhaps, just perhaps, this was the lifeline he needed to lift both himself and his mother out of despair. Bursting with both anxiety and hope, he jumped in his old pickup, the engine sputtering like his own optimism, and headed to Texas, clinging to the belief that he could start fresh. The sun hung low when he arrived, and the town felt almost brand new, alive with potential. Mary greeted him with open arms, her bright smile shining through the heaviness of their shared losses. They spoke of dreams of businesses and brighter tomorrows, his heart swelling with each word. He was ready to take the plunge, imagining a life filled with laughter, less burden, and more love. Maybe this is it, he thought, the corners of his mouth lifting in hope. But as days rolled into nights, the initial colors of opportunity dulled. It didn't take long for Jim to uncover that beneath her charismatic surface, Mary too wrestled with her own financial demons. Secrets loomed over their connection, fragile and ready to shatter. They stood at crossroads, both wanting to dream, but burdened by reality's grip. When misunderstandings surfaced, walls began to rise, mirroring the struggles they faced. Just as Jim contemplated retreat, something unexpected rattled their small community, a factory closing, a natural disaster, or perhaps both. It shook them to their core, sending waves of uncertainty crashing down around them. In that moment of chaos, hearts swung open, vulnerability spilling forth like rain from heavy clouds. Jim found himself standing before his neighbors, friends, and exhausted faces of his community, all looking to him, a mechanic, for direction. This was a pivotal juncture, a chance to lead, to inspire hope. It was terrifying yet exhilarating, each heartbeat echoing the new path forming before him, breathtaking in its uncertainty. A question hung thick in the air. Could he rally these people, find a way to truly connect with those he called his own, while still nurturing the fragile connection with Mary? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As he looked into the faces shining with the hope of rekindled dreams, a flicker of determination ignited inside him. The community saw him as just a mechanic, but maybe there was more to him than oil stains. Could he lead them through the darkness alongside Mary, overcoming their individual burdens together? The weight of this decision sat like a stone in his gut. Jim could either blend into the background or rise up. What path would he choose? With uncertainty in his heart, he took a deep breath and stepped forward, ready to carve a new destiny. Wasn't just about him. Jim's heart raced as he faced the sea of hopeful faces. He remembered his garage, the loneliness that wrapped around him like an old, tattered blanket. That world felt far away now. How had it come to this? Standing in front of a community yearning for guidance, each person carrying their own burdens, fears, and dreams, he suddenly felt the weight of his past and the gravity of this moment collide. He cleared his throat, the air thick with expectation. I know things are tough, he started, each word heavier than the last. I've felt that tough, like trying to start a car that just won't turn over. But if we work together, we can get this engine running again. Faces turned toward him, eyes studying his hesitation. Suddenly, whispers sprang up. What does he know? Can he really help us? Doubt began to creep over his resolve. Mary, standing just behind him, her eyes sparkling with a mix of admiration and concern, stepped forward. Her voice was steady, soothing. Jim is right. We can't solve everything alone. But together, we can build something. We've all lost something: our jobs, our loved ones. But look around. This community is strong, and it's time we come together. There was a shift in the air. Jim felt Mary beside him like a steadying anchor. Perhaps they could face their demons as a team. But things were still murky. Her secrets tangled with his ambitions, and they hadn't solved their own issues yet. The connection they were building felt fragile, like a row of dominoes waiting for the wrong push. The crowd murmured. Jim met Mary's gaze. In that moment, he saw a flicker of something deeper, a shared understanding. Yet, the churning within him reminded him of the uncertainties that lay beneath. Could he really lead, or would he merely drag them down? With renewed determination, Jim took a deeper breath and continued. We need to identify what each of us has to offer. His voice grew louder, resonating through the quiet murmur. We can resurrect that factory, find new trades, or even launch a community project. But it's going to take every one of us. His heart stormed in his chest, charging him forward. The crowd started to nod, a ripple of agreement beginning to spread. Someone shouted, I can fix machines. Another voice chimed in, I can help with marketing. Coordinates aligning like stars overhead, they began to fill the room with ideas, hope blossoming like wildflowers after rain. But just then, a young woman stepped forward. Her expression was one of anguish. My family depends on me. What if this fails? The weight of her fear pierced through the anticipation. Jim's heart sank. For a moment, doubt loomed between him and the burgeoning movement around him. The pressure was mounting, and as the silence enveloped them, he understood. This wasn't just about dreams or plans. It was about lives, families hanging in the balance. Look, he said, lowering his voice to something that felt more raw and honest. We all have fears, but it's okay to feel scared. 3 weeks ago, I was just a mechanic in a town that was falling apart. But together, we're bigger than our worries. If we fail, we do it together. And if we succeed, we fight to keep this community alive. A wave of resolve surged among them, igniting the air, bringing back the warmth to those fading faces. Mary reached out, squeezing his hand tightly, and something clicked inside him. It was more than working through their challenges. It was about community, connection, and a shared purpose. They needed each other to succeed, and in that moment, he understood Mary's burdens would never weigh him down if they faced them as partners. Enthusiasm buzzed in the crowd. Jim could feel the spark within himself become a full flame. This was the beginning of something bigger, and together, they could create a ripple effect that spread beyond just their town. But deep inside, shadows still lurked, especially regarding his unresolved relationship with Mary. Would their connection withstand the storm of newfound responsibilities? And what are the secrets they had yet to share? With hearts racing, they launched into discussions, plans spilling over like the summer rain. But as they charted a course toward their future, Jim couldn't shake the feeling that the real storm, one that would test everything they had just ignited, was still brewing on the horizon. What truth would emerge, and could he stand firm when the tempest arrived? Jim felt the energy in the room surge around him, each voice contributing to a symphony of hope. People were sharing talents, offering support, harmonizing as they had never done before. Yet, the weight of the young woman's question still loomed. What if they failed? It clung to him like a stubborn shadow. He locked eyes with Mary again, hoping for reassurance. Her expression was fierce, passionate, yet her gaze flickered with her own doubts. Jim could feel the invisible tether that connected them tightening. Together, they felt monstrous obstacles, yet also immense potential. As the crowd buzzed with excitement, he could almost touch the promise of what lay ahead. Before Jim could offer more words of encouragement, an elderly man with a weathered face raised his hand. What if we don't have enough money? His voice trembled, edged with reality. Jim's heart sank. The truth was, finances were a major barrier. They needed not just ideas but resources to get off the ground. He inhaled deeply. Every great venture starts with little more than belief and determination. Let us brainstorm where we can find the funds. Grants? Community fundraising? We'll put our heads together and figure it out. The energy of determination flickered anew, the faint embers of doubt giving way to a rising fire. Voices grew louder, people brainstorming creative solutions. Jim felt the room's vibrancy wrap around him. He was becoming the leader they needed. But inside, a tiny voice reminded him of the cracks in his own foundation. He looked at Mary again, whose eyes were now glimmering with a mix of fear and excitement. Would they be able to support each other when the inevitable waves of uncertainty came crashing in? As the night wore on, laughter weaved through the discussions. Little by little, plans transformed into tangible ideas. They decided to host a potluck in the town square, raising funds with food and entertainment. A group formed to gather stories from families, showcasing the resilience of their community. Jim could feel the pulse of revival simmering beneath the surface. But amidst the bursts of laughter, a twisted knot of anxiety nestled in Jim's gut. He needed to talk to Mary. They had to face the shadows between them, the ones that threatened to overshadow the light they were creating together. "Hey, can we talk?" he finally asked, pulling her aside. The buzz of voices faded behind them, leaving an intimate, charged silence. Mary hesitated, her lips forming a thin line, vulnerability flickering across her face. "What's wrong? I know we're all about moving forward, but we can't ignore what's between us. This connection, it's more than just a project for me. But I need to know if you see this the same way." Her silence spoke volumes. Fear gripped his heart. All this work could collapse if they didn't confront whatever was festering. Could Mary let down her walls? Finally, she spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. "I wanted Jim, but my past is catching up to me. I'm scared. What if my fears bring you down? Together, we're stronger than our fears," he urged, reaching for her hand, desperate to bridge the space between them. As reality sank in, Mary's eyes shimmered with unspoken burdens. Jim wondered if there were ghosts in her past that would affect them both. A commotion pulled them back to reality. "We need to make the first flyer for the potluck," someone shouted, pulling everyone's focus back to the crowd. The energy surged again, chants of determination rising once more. But as laughter echoed around them, Jim couldn't shake the feeling that their fears hidden beneath the surface would soon burst forth like the flood that followed the storm. What secrets would uncovering their pasts reveal, and would they be able to stand firm as partners when the tempest finally caught up with them? The vibrant energy of the gathering began to settle into a steady rhythm as people shifted their focus back to planning the potluck. Jim felt the warmth of their shared laughter, but his thoughts were increasingly drawn back to the quiet conversation he had just had with Mary. How could they face the future when shadows from the past still loomed over them? "All right, everyone," Jim called out, trying to project confidence through his own swirling emotions. "Let us divide up the tasks for the potluck and make sure everyone knows what to bring." As names were tossed around and ideas batted back and forth, Jim glanced toward Mary. She was hunched over a notepad, deliberately scribbling down notes, her brow furrowed in concentration. He felt a pang of admiration mixed with concern. Would focusing on the project help her block out the pain of her past, or would it only serve to amplify her inner turmoil? Amid the planning, Jim caught snippets of conversations. Stories of hope poured in, recounted by those eager to revive their community. He felt the power of their collective dream, but the troubling knot of anxiety in his stomach tightened whenever he lost sight of Mary. As the meeting wrapped up, a young girl approached Jim, her confidence seemingly packed into her small frame. "Can I help with the flyers?" she asked, her voice bright with enthusiasm. "Absolutely." Jim beamed, touched by her eagerness. "What is your name?" "Laura," she replied, her eyes shining with the mischief of youth. Jim knelt down to her level. "All right, Laura, let us come up with a catchy slogan for our potluck." While they brainstormed, Jim stole glances at Mary. She hadn't moved from her spot. The whisper of her worries seemed to echo even in the laughter surrounding them. Suddenly, he felt a sense of urgency. He had to find a way to coax her out of her shell. "Mary, can I borrow you for a moment?" He ventured as others began gathering their things. She looked up, surprise dancing across her face. "Sure, what is it?" "Let us work on the flyer together," he proposed, leading her away from the crowd. "We can brainstorm ideas and create something that really represents us." Her shoulders relaxed slightly at the suggestion, but doubt still lingered in her eyes. I'm not sure I have the right creative touch. Hey, he said, placing a hand on her shoulder, you'd be surprised. You have so much spirit and insight to offer. Let them shine in our work. Mary bit her lip, allowing a small smile to break through the creases of her hesitation. Okay, I'll try. As they sat together, he watched her become lighter with every word shared. She began sketching simple designs, and ideas flowed as they talked about colors, words, and images. Laughter bounced between them, creating a bubble of warmth that seemed to melt away some of Mary's doubts. But just as hope began to blossom, a heavy silence hung in the air. The sun dipped lower, painting the room amber, and a thought abruptly crossed Jim's mind: were they truly ready for the challenges to come, both as a community and as something deeper? What if they uncovered the burdens they hadn't yet shared? Before he could voice his concerns, Mary's phone buzzed on the table. She glanced at the screen, and the pallor that fell over her face was swift and alarming. Jim's heart raced. What is it? He asked, reaching instinctively for her hand. It's from my sister, she breathed, her eyes wide and unsteady. I haven't heard from her in years. For a moment, the world outside faded away, and all that mattered was the screen in front of her and the uncertainty of what awaited them both. Would this revelation strengthen their bond, or tear them apart when they were so close to lifting each other up? The question hung heavy in the air, a fateful event waiting to unfold as Mary took a deep breath, preparing to read the message that could change everything. What did it say, and how would it affect their fragile connection? Mary's fingers hovered over the screen, heart pounding like a drum in her chest. The world blurred around her, the voices of friends becoming a distant hum. She took a deep breath, bracing herself for whatever news lay ahead. 1,000 thoughts raced through her mind, memories, fears, hopes, all entwined in a tight knot of anticipation. Are you okay? Jim asked, his voice a soothing balm against the storm swirling within her. His hand rested reassuringly over hers. She could feel the warmth of his touch grounding her, urging her to take that next step. I don't know, she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. I haven't spoken to her since everything happened. Maybe it's a good thing? A chance to reconnect? His encouragement wrapped around her like a blanket. With trembling fingers, she unlocked her phone. The message flickered on the screen, waiting to be read. Are you ready? Jim squeezed her hand lightly. She nodded, forcing herself to look at the words. Mary, I miss you. I'm sorry for everything. I need to talk. Her heart sank. That was it. Just an empty promise draped in vague apologies. Her sister, someone who had once been a pillar in her life, now felt like a ghost, an echo of what had been. It's like she thinks she can just waltz back in, Mary said, fighting the wave of frustration rising inside her. Maybe she genuinely wants to fix things. It sounds like there's a lot to sort through. Jim's voice was steady, but she sensed his hesitation. He understood the weight of this interaction more than he let on. I don't know, Jim. It's been years of silence and hurt. Her voice broke slightly, and she felt the threatening sting of tears. What if it's all just talk? What if she disappears again? Then it's her loss, Jim said, his tone fierce yet tender. But if you don't give her the chance, you'll never know. They lapsed into silence, the air thick with unresolved emotions. Jim's presence was a comfort, but the thought of facing the truth of her sister's absence was daunting. Did she have the strength to confront the hurts of the past? What if sharing this with you, my sister, my story, it makes you think less of me? Mary said suddenly, voicing a fear she had kept buried. Mary, Jim said, turning to meet her gaze. You could never be less than extraordinary to me. We all have scars, but they're part of who we are. They don't define us. His eyes were steady, filled with a sincerity that made her feel seen in a way she never anticipated. The weight of his words wrapped around her heart, lifting ghosts from her past, if only a little. The laughter from the potluck meeting faded into the background as moments of shared silence filled the space between them. I want to talk to her, she finally said, a newfound determination bubbling within. If she's willing to reach out after all this time, I need to see where this goes. Then let us figure it out together. You don't have to do this alone. Mary felt a rush of warmth wash over her, hope fluttering inside her chest. This was the start of a journey not just with her sister, but also with Jim. They were carving out something steady amid uncertainty. Just as she was feeling a flicker of courage, her phone buzzed again. A follow-up message played across the screen, making her heart stop. "There's something important I need to tell you." Something that changed everything. With a mix of fear and curiosity, Mary looked at Jim, who raised an eyebrow, his expression mirroring her concern. "What is it?" "I don't know," she replied, her heart racing. Together they leaned closer to her phone, both waiting for the truth that lay behind the words, knowing it could shake them to their core. Mary stared at the screen, her mind a whirlpool of questions. What could be so important? Her heart thudded nervously in her chest. Jim's hand remained in hers, squeezing gently, grounding her amidst the chaos of thoughts. "I can't take this," she whispered, pulling her hand slightly away. Panic crept into her voice. "What if it's horrible? Then you'll deal with it, just like you've dealt with everything else," Jim replied softly, his eyes locked on hers with unwavering support. "But you need to read it. You'll never know unless you do." Taking a deep breath, she focused on the screen again. The message continued. "My life turned upside down when I found out the truth. I've kept it from you all these years, and it's something you deserve to know." Tears filled Mary's eyes. What truth? Her mind flashed back to her sister's laughter, their childhood adventures, and an all-consuming hollow where their relationship used to be. The memories felt heavy, weighted down by the unresolved issues that had ripped them apart. "What do you think it is?" she asked quietly, sharing a worried glance with Jim. "Honestly, I don't know. But whatever it is, it seems like she's finally ready to face it. Isn't that a good sign?" Before she could respond, her phone buzzed again, breaking the fragile stillness. Another message popped up, just below the first. "I need you to know that it's not what you think. Please just listen to me when we talk." "Listen?" Mary echoed, her stomach twisting. "What if it's about what happened to us? What if it's bad?" Jim brushed a thumb across her knuckles. "You have to give her a chance to explain. It sounds like there's a weight she's been carrying all this time. She might not have known how to reach out before." Mary closed her eyes, feeling the warmth of Jim's hand like a lifeline. "What if I'm only setting myself up for another heartbreak? Then you'll be stronger for it. Trust in yourself. It's okay to be afraid. Just know this." Jim paused, pulling her gaze back to his. "You've got me by your side, no matter what happens." Mary took a deep breath and nodded. She was tired of running from her past, tired of fearing the unknown. She needed to confront her sister, to uncover the truth that had been buried for so long. And with Jim's support, it felt less daunting. After a moment of silence, she replied to the message, her thumbs trembling as she typed, "Okay, let us talk." Just as she sent it, the excitement of her decision rushed in, followed immediately by doubt. Would this truly bring them closer, or would it open up old wounds? There was no way to know now, but she felt the wind of change above her, swirling with every unanswered question. Her phone buzzed one last time. This time the message made her heart skip a beat. "You don't understand how much I need you to hear this part. Please, promise me you won't judge." Mary, Jim said, his voice barely above a whisper. "You're doing the right thing." The uncertainty loomed large as Mary suddenly felt trapped between hope and fear. She glanced around the room, catching the eyes of friends who seemed blissfully unaware of the storm brewing in her heart. Had she made the right choice? Mary knew deep down it was time to confront the truth, to face her sister and whatever had been hidden for so long. But as she gathered her strength, another wave of apprehension washed over her. What if the hidden truth was more than she could handle? With that thought lingering, her phone buzzed again, a new message illuminating the darkness in her mind. "I'll explain everything on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Be there, please." Mary's breath caught. Tuesday felt unbearably close, and the weight of anticipation on her chest intensified. How would she prepare for this conversation that could change everything? Jim leaned closer, breaking her spiraling thoughts. "You've got this, Mary. Just take it one step at a time. Whatever is coming, you will face it together." As she nodded, feeling a strange mix of unity and dread, the reality set in. The truth was waiting just around the corner, and soon she would be forced to confront it. But could she really handle whatever revelations would come her way? The clock was ticking. The unraveling was about to begin. Mary sat at the kitchen table, staring at the clock. Each tick felt like a countdown to something monumental. 3 hours and 45 minutes until she met her sister. The air felt thick, almost electric, as she toyed with the edges of the worn tablecloth. Memories of shared secrets and laughter filled her mind, colliding with the weight of the unknown. What if I don't know what to say? She said softly, breaking the silence that lingered in the room. Jim, leaning against the counter, looked up from his phone. You're not going to fix everything in one conversation. Just be honest, even if that means saying you're scared. Scared I'm terrified, she confessed, her voice trembling. This could shatter everything we've avoided for years. Jim walked over and placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. And it might bring you closer, too. Just remember, whatever happens, you have me. The warmth of his touch eased the anxious knot in her stomach. Thanks, Jim. I wasn't sure if I'd have the strength to go through with this alone. Lucky for you, solitude isn't your only option, he joked lightly, attempting to latch on a hope that a smile broke through Mary's apprehension, if only for a moment. It was a fleeting reminder of why she was willing to risk this conversation, the weight of their shared history urging her to confront not just her sister, but herself as well. Do you think she can truly be honest with me this time? After all these years? Mary whispered, her eyes brimming with uncertainty. Will it really change anything? It might. Even the tiniest change can shift the course of a relationship, Jim replied, sincerity painting his words. You have to be willing to hear her out and see what she says before jumping to conclusions. Mary nodded, though doubt still lingered. Deep down, she thought of all the missed phone calls, the unreturned messages. Had her sister kept her distance on purpose? Was there a new truth hidden behind years of silence that she was finally ready to share? Suddenly, her phone chimed a notification from the group chat with her family. A photo of a family barbecue popped up, filled with smiling faces, bright summer lighting, and carefree joy. It was the kind of image that felt like a bittersweet reminder of what could have been. A pang of longing hit her as she stared at the screen. A family separated, yet seemingly thriving without her, or perhaps ignoring the rift. Are you okay? Jim asked, sensing the shift in her mood. Just seeing everyone like that, she sighed, feeling the sting behind her eyes again. It's overwhelming. It feels like they've all moved on while I'm stuck here, wrestling with my past. Mary, you're not stuck. You're on the brink of something. A breakthrough, Jim encouraged gently. Focus on your own path and what feels right for you. She took a deep breath, trying to let the words sink in. The truth scares me, Jim. What if it changes everything? Or worse, what if it doesn't? Then you'll know, and you can decide how to move forward. Either way, you're not making that journey alone, he assured her. Mary looked at him, gratitude washing over her. She realized that, regardless of the outcome, taking this step meant she was finally claiming her voice in her story. As the clock continued its relentless march, one question settled in her mind. What hidden truths awaited her beneath the surface? As the hour approached, the anticipation bubbled again, and with it, the looming dread. The unraveling felt imminent. Would she be ready for whatever awaited her when she finally faced her sister? A simple question hung in the air, but it felt like the weight of the world. Could she handle the truth? Time was running out. Mary glanced again at the clock. 2 hours and 15 minutes left. Each second seized her heart tighter, a steady drumbeat of fear and hope thrumming through her veins. She rose from her seat and paced the small kitchen, her mind racing like a car with no brakes. What if she opened the door to a truth that reshaped everything? Hey, how about a coffee run? Jim suggested, sensing her restlessness. It might help take the edge off. Yeah, okay, she replied, grateful for the chance to shift her focus, even just a little. The familiar hum of the coffee maker brought a sense of comfort amidst the chaos. As Jim went to grab the car keys, she felt a tug of reluctance within her. Jim, what if I find out my sister is doing just fine without me? That she is happy? Her voice quivered as the truth hit her like ice water. Then you'll know, he said, his gaze steady, a reassuring anchor amidst the storm of emotions swirling inside her. And it will hurt, but at least you'll stop wondering. His words resonated with her, echoing her fears. She poured the coffee, the rich aroma filling the room. But with the comfort of caffeine came the unwelcome realization that this might also be a goodbye to an old version of herself that had hoped for reconciliation but had never acted on it. Do you think she'll want to see me? Mary felt a shroud of doubt draping her shoulders. What if she has built a life without me and doesn't need any of this, any of us? Who knows? She might be struggling too. You're not the only one who feels the weight of the past, Jim replied gently. Confronting the past can hurt, but it can heal, too. Just be open. The truth was, this meeting held a chance of mending what had splintered long ago. Mary felt a flicker of hope amidst the fear, but it was easily swallowed by a darker thought. What if the confrontation opened wounds neither of them was ready to face? What if honesty led to more heartache? As they drove through the sun-streaked streets, her thoughts slid into memories of her sister, the laughter they once shared, the dreams they chased together before the years and silence ripped them apart. Would they find that connection again? Had those years truly faded away, or were they entrenched in the black hole of resentment? Why do we push those we love away? Mary suddenly asked. She glanced over at Jim, seeking answers embedded in his experience. Maybe it's fear, he said slowly. Fear of what they see in us. Or fear of what we'll discover about ourselves. Mary nodded, absorbing the sentiment. The open road stretched ahead of them, carrying the promise of what lay beyond, possibly her sister, possibly closure or reconciliation. Their conversation drifted to mundane topics, yet the layers of silence thickened with each passing moment. The questions lingered like a low fog. Would her sister welcome her? Would all those years of silence hang over them, thick and suffocating? Finally, they parked in the lot of a small cafe that buzzed with life. The scent of freshly baked goods wafted through the air as they stepped inside. Mary's heart raced. She was just steps away from her sister. Are you ready? Jim asked, putting an encouraging hand on her back as they made their way to the door. You've got this. Taking a deep breath, Mary nodded, though her throat felt tight. As ready as I'll ever be. With a heartbeat that echoed like thunder in her ears, she pushed open the door, the little bell chiming above them. In that moment, she realized just how pivotal this moment would be. Behind the wall of uncertainty, she was willing to unravel whatever lay ahead. But as her eyes scanned the room, a familiar figure came into view, and Mary froze. There was her sister, laughing with someone at a table, her whole posture an image of comfort and joy. A sudden wave of emotion surged through her, overwhelming and chaotic. It hit her that this was the truth she had been both longing for and dreading. Could she really step into this moment, or would she turn back now? Just as she prepared to take that next vital step, a voice called out, Mary. Her heart raced. Would she find what she was searching for, or would the truth push her away again in an unexpected twist? Mary's breath caught in her throat at the sound of her name. It felt like a fist closing around her chest, squeezing tight. She turned slowly, her eyes landing on her sister, Jenna, who was now standing, wide-eyed and momentarily speechless. The laughter moments ago faded, replaced by a profound silence that enveloped the cafe like a heavy fog. Jenna Mary's voice barely escaped her lips, trembling with uncertainty. She felt the weight of the years between them, every missed birthday and unmade phone call laced into that single name. Mary? Jenna echoed, as if testing the reality of it. Her face shifting from surprise to an emotion Mary couldn't quite read. A mix of joy and wariness seemed to dance in her expression. For a fleeting moment, Mary found herself lost in the memory of their shared childhood, the silly secrets, the endless summer nights. But now, it felt like they were on opposite sides of a great divide, both wanting to bridge it, but unsure how. The cafe buzzed around them, oblivious to the flood of emotions swirling in this hidden corner. Customers laughed. A barista called out orders. Yet in that tiny pocket of the universe, everything else faded away. I didn't expect to see you here, Jenna finally said. Her voice trembled, misty with unshed tears. Me neither, Mary replied, unsure if the tremor in her voice betrayed her fear or her longing. Is it really you? Jenna stepped closer, her eyes searching. After all this time, Mary glanced at Jim, who stood by the door, giving her a reassuring nod. The gesture felt grounding. She took a breath, drawing from the courage he had whispered into her before the door swung open. I came to see you. I thought maybe we could talk. Jenna hesitated, a flicker of something breaking through her uncertainty. I don't know if I can. It's been so long. I know the words spilled out before Mary could hold them back. But I've missed you. I've missed us. I need to know if we can at least try to fix this. With that, the walls stood tall around them. The silence thickened, and yet it felt charged, electric. Jenna's eyes softened, her earlier defenses appearing to slip away, revealing the vulnerability beneath. I thought you didn't care, she confessed, her voice breaking. I've thought about you every day, Mary admitted, the truth of her feelings unraveling in the air between them. I've been scared. Scared of how you would feel. Scared of what it would mean if we faced everything. Jenna's gaze fell for a moment. I thought you forgot me, she murmured, almost to herself. I thought I was the one left behind. The pain in her sister's voice struck Mary like a physical blow. I'm so sorry. I never meant for it to feel that way. I thought. She trailed off, trying to grab onto words that could express what she felt, what she had hidden from for far too long. Suddenly, a hand reached out, tentatively, as if testing the waters. Maybe we can start with something small, Jenna suggested, her voice barely above a whisper but filled with an incredible weight. Like coffee? Mary offered, her heart swelling with a glimmer of renewed hope. Their laughter, shared moments and connections bounced back to life in that instant, illuminating the shadows that had lingered for too long as they settled into a booth. Mary felt the warm tingles of possibility course through her. They were still miles apart, but that fragile beam of connection, tentative yet radiant, flickered between them. Then, just as she felt the first taste of optimism, her phone buzzed in her pocket. It was an unknown number, an alert that jolted her heart. Mary glanced at Jenna, who had noticed too, her brow knit with concern. Should she answer? Do you think it could be something important? Jenna asked softly. In that moment, as Mary stared at the screen, the weight of the world seemed to hang in the balance again. She could either take this call, pulling her attention away from this fragile moment, or let it go for now and focus on what truly mattered right in front of her. What if it's something life-changing? She wondered aloud. And with that, one question lingering in the air, Mary realized that the choices she made in the next few seconds could potentially reshape everything once again. Mary's heart raced, caught in the crossfire of past and present. The phone buzzed again, dragging her attention like a magnet towards the screen. She hesitated, fingers hovering over the glass. It felt like a ghost from her past demanding her attention right in the moment she'd been yearning for a reconnection with Jenna. Do you think you should check it? Jim asked, his voice quiet but steady, a gentle reminder that whatever she decided could significantly shape this critical moment. Beside him, Jenna's expression mirrored Mary's dilemma, concern etched on her face. No, Mary said, a firmer resolve taking root. This moment with my sister matters more. She couldn't let distractions threatened by an unknown number taint the flicker of hope that ignited in the air between them. Slipping her phone back into her pocket, she met Jenna's searching gaze. Let us talk, Mary said, her voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions inside her. About everything. With a deep breath, Jenna nodded, her initial tension gradually giving way to a tentative openness. Okay, I've missed you so much, Mary admitted, the words tumbling out with an honesty that felt refreshing and terrifying in equal measure. I didn't know how to reach out. I thought you didn't want to hear from me. I thought the same, Jenna responded, her voice softer now, almost like they were stitching together the frayed ends of their shared history. It was easier to pretend. As the room thrummed around them, the air filled with laughter and clinking cups, Mary felt the shadows that lingered between them begin to pull back, revealing a path once obscured. It's been hard without you, she confessed. It felt like losing a part of myself. And I never thought we could be here again. Jenna's eyes shimmered as she listened, each word peeling back layers of hurt that had taken root through the silence. I thought I could just forget it all, she finally admitted. But every time I walked by the house, every birthday that passed without you, it hurt. A warmth washed over them, as if the very act of acknowledgement softened the jagged edges of their years apart. What if we start rebuilding? Mary proposed, a fragile hope blooming inside her. We can meet for coffee, share stories, slowly peel back layers. Maybe that way we can confront everything. Like a friendship reset? Jenna echoed, a smile creeping across her face, hesitant yet genuine. Exactly, Mary beamed. No more hiding. Just us, real and honest. Jenna's expression shifted from uncertainty to determination. This was a turning point. Suddenly, Mary's phone buzzed again, a more insistent vibration. Hesitantly, she glanced at the screen, the unknown number catching her eye once more. Should she check it? Take it. It might be something important, Jim urged quietly, sensing her wavering focus. But Mary felt something different clarity. This moment, this precious reconnection, was something she had fought for, an opportunity to heal what had been broken. No, not now. Whatever that is, it can wait, she declared. Jenna's eyes widened in surprise. You're not going to look? What if it's really important? I cannot let it overshadow what's unfolding now, Mary confessed. This is what I needed more than anything else. Answers can wait. Her heart swelled. She was choosing her sister and their fractured bond over the noise of the past. With newfound resolve, they both leaned in closer, poised over steaming cups of coffee, laughter ripe for the taking. Tell me about everything, Mary urged, her smile radiant. And as Jenna began to share her stories, the triumphs, sorrows, and everyday moments, Mary found a sense of peace settling within her. The years apart felt like flickering shadows fading into the soft glow of a new beginning. There was a long road ahead, one filled with facing the fears and truths they had avoided for so long. But for the first time, they were willing to walk it together, with Jim watching from the side, a grin spreading across his face. Mary felt supported in ways she had long since forgotten. Together, this group had created something stronger than just themselves. They were building a community, a family in the vibrant cafe, nestled between laughter and steaming coffee. Mary finally understood that while the hidden truths could be daunting, they were also the key to a brighter tomorrow. And with every introduction, every shared moment, they were not just unraveling the past, they were knitting together a new future, one rooted in honesty, compassion, and hope. A fresh start blossoming from the shared ground, where love flourished and the bonds of family were reborn. As the sun dipped, casting a warm glow around them, she realized this was not the end, but simply the beginning of something beautiful. Now, if you found inspiration in Mary and Jenna's journey, and you want to catch more transformative stories like this, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to fuel the algorithm and spread this message of hope. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. They will thank you for it. Together, let us continue building this community.